Hello and welcome to Spectrum News at 9. My name is Xavier Robert, coming to you live from Uyo, the capital city of Akwa Ibom. Let's take a look at the headlines. President Tinubu joins world leaders for closing of Paris summit. IGP Egbetokun appoints Tunde Dishu principal officer, unveils new policing strategy. Ukraine's defense minister presses for NATO membership formula ahead of Vilnius summit. Details of these stories and more in a moment. We'll begin the news tonight with a report that President Bola Tinubu today joined other world leaders for the closing ceremony of the new Global Financing Pact Summit in France. The financial summit, which is hosted by France, seeks to establish a system that will be more responsive, just and inclusive. It also seeks to fight inequalities, finance the climate transition and biodiversity protection, and move closer to achieving the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals (SDGs). Recall that the president had departed Nigeria for Paris on Tuesday for the summit. He's on the priority list for support and investment following the devastating impact of climate change, the energy crisis, and the COVID-19 pandemic. He is also expected to hold bilateral meetings with various countries, including officials of France, US and Switzerland, to discuss possible ways of attracting foreign direct investments. In the meantime, Vice President Kashim Shettima yesterday in Abuja said the Tinubu-led administration is committed to eradicating variant poliovirus by the end of 2023. According to him, the administration will do so by working with state governments to address concerns around the financing of Nigeria's primary healthcare system. He described polio as one of the major primary healthcare challenges in Nigeria, said the proposal is to provide timely domestic financing for the procurement of vaccines, which could not have come sooner, to boost the industrial capacity to produce vaccines. He affirmed that Nigeria's 3-dose pentavalent vaccine coverage has improved from 33% in 2016 to 57% in 2021. He further stated that the variant poliovirus has declined in Nigeria by 84% from 2021, falling to fewer than 200 cases in 2022. Shettima commended the states who have achieved high category immunization coverage, which is between 60% and 80% of the target demographic. He added that the number of states has expanded from 12 to 21 states in 5 years.
Collaborative advocacy and utilization of our combined resources, and I assure you that we are going to utilize the National Economic Council, to which I and each of the 36 state governors belong, to adhere to the Abuja commitments. These commitments are built on the promises to achieve a polio-free Nigeria, strengthen routine immunization, and improve primary health care under the Council's supervision. As partners, Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, we are also going to ensure compliance with the Seattle Declaration, which demands our governors prioritize primary health care, guaranteeing a nation where no child suffers, where no family is unable to access health care, and where every community thrives in a place of wellness and prosperity.
Away from that, the Federation Account Allocation Committee (FAC) says it shared a total sum of 786.161 billion naira to the federal government, states and local government areas as May allocation. This was contained in a communique issued at the end of FAC meeting for June 2023. The meeting was chaired by the Accountant General of the Federation, Dr. Oluwatoyin Madain. According to a statement by FAG spokesman Bawa Mokwa disclosed that the 786.161 billion naira total distributable revenue comprised distributable statutory revenue of 519.545 billion naira, distributable value-added tax VAT revenue of 251.607 billion naira, electronic money transfer levy of 14.370 billion naira, and exchange difference revenue of 0.639 billion naira. The statement explained that the federal government received 301.889 billion naira, state governments received 265.875 billion naira, and local government councils received 195.541 billion naira. It noted further that total sum of 22.855 billion naira was shared to the relevant states as 13% derivation revenue. Meanwhile, the federal government has called on the United Nations and development partners to strengthen support towards the implementation of the regional strategy for stabilization, recovery and resilience of Boko Haram affected areas in Nigeria and other countries of the Lake Chad Basin. The National Coordinator, National Counter-Terrorism Center (NCTC), Office of the National Security Advisor, ONSA, Rear Admiral Yam Musa, retired, made the call at a side event of the ongoing 3rd United Nations Counter-Terrorism Week (CT Week), holding at the UN headquarters in New York, United States of America, from 19 through 23rd June 2023. The CT Week is a biennial gathering of member states and international counter-terrorism partners. The theme of the 3rd CT Week is addressing terrorism through reinvigorated multilateral and institutional cooperation. The National Coordinator disclosed that the reintegration of the vast number of repentant and low-risk individuals associated with Boko Haram and ISWAP poses a significant new challenge for the government of Nigeria, hence the need for more international support in addressing the menace. In a related development, the federal government has sought the support of the British government in the fight against terrorism, banditry and other violent crimes and conflicts. Secretary to the Government of the Federation SGF, George Akume, made the appeal when he received the British High Commissioner to Nigeria, Richard Montgomery. Akume also called for support in agriculture and infrastructural development, stressing the need to partner in education and the health sectors. Meanwhile, Montgomery said the administration's reform initiatives were welcome and pledged to consolidate the bilateral relationship. In the meantime, Amnesty International has said that it will partner with the federal government to fight attacks on school children. AI said that it also observed that recently there has been a spontaneous rise in cases of violence against children in schools. It came into contact with parents of children who have either died or been severely injured or were put in a very difficult situation due to bullying by teachers and peers. Amnesty International disclosed this at a one-day stakeholders dialogue on ending violence against children in schools in Abuja. Speaking on the desire of Amnesty International AI to end violence against children in schools, the acting country director of AI, Isa Salihu, noted that the organization will collate solutions and suggestions proffered by stakeholders on violence against children and write these suggestions into a policy document. Moving on now to the judiciary, where the Court of Appeal Abuja Division has reinstated the former Director General National Intelligence Agency (NIA), Mohammed Dauda. Delivering judgment, Justice Peter Ige said the evidence leading to the dismissal of Dauda was frivolous and lacking in merit. The judge also resolved all the contentious issues against NIA in favor of Dauda, who is a respondent in the suit. He further ordered that his salaries and entitlements since the day of dismissal from office be paid. The appellate court also gave an order that the sum of 1 million naira be paid to Dauda, and Justice Ige further held that Dauda should be allowed to retire in service in accordance with the stipulated laws. It would be recalled that Dauda had earlier acted as the head of the agency from November 2017 to January 2018, when he was replaced by former President Muhammadu Buhari. Dissatisfied, he challenged his removal in court, saying his dismissal from service did not follow due process and was wrongful. To electoral matters now, where the Presidential Election Petitions Court has admitted certified copies of academic and work records of President Bola Tinubu tendered by the People's Democratic Party and its candidate Atiku Abubakar, reading different names that he registered with the Independent National Electoral Commission. The documents which were tendered today include a BSc certificate from Chicago State University and NYC discharge certificate, and a Mobile Nigeria Oil PLC certificate of service. The PDP had brought the documents through their subpoenaed witness, Mike Enahoro Eba, Esquire, who noted that the documents were purportedly obtained by Tinubu but bore the name Bola Adekunle Tinubu. Led in evidence by PDP counsel Chris Uche San, the witness also tendered forms EC13 and EC9 nomination forms and the letters written to INEC as attachments. In a related development, the Independent National Electoral Commission INEC says it will hold a post-elections review for the just concluded 2023 polls from July 4 through August 5, 2023. In a statement by the Commission spokesman Festus Okoye, the electoral umpire said the review will commence with a meeting of the resident electoral commissioners Rex and end with the Commission's retreat. Reports say the Commission has been holding these review meetings after every general election since 2011. According to the electoral umpire, the review will focus on all aspects of the electoral activities before, during, and after the elections. Recall that the presidential election was conducted on February 25, 2023, and INEC declared the All Progressives Congress APC candidate Bola Tinubu as the winner of the poll, but two main challengers, Peter Obi of the Labour Party LP and Atiku Abubakar of the People's Democratic Party PDP, are presently in court to challenge the declaration by INEC alleging various electoral malpractices, the supposed inefficiency of the bimodal voter accreditation system BVAS and INEC result viewing portal IREV, as well as insisting that the poll was not free and fair. Meanwhile, INEC said it will review the lessons from the general elections and chart a way forward. In another development, the new Chief of Army Staff Corps, Major General Taoreed Lagbaja, has assumed command of the Nigerian Army as the 23rd Army Chief with a pledge to discharge responsibilities with fairness. Lagbaja took the baton from the 22nd Chief Lieutenant General Farouk Yahaya, who had been in command since May 2021. He said that God had made it his turn to receive the mantle of leadership of the Nigerian Army, an aspiration of every combatant Army officer. The new Army Chief said the Nigerian Army had, in the past 25 months, witnessed milestone transformation under his predecessor, General Yahaya. He said these included unprecedented procurement of equipment and prudent management of human and material resources, which Nigeria had begun to reap the dividends. Lagbaja thanked the former Corps for mentorship and empowering his military career. According to him, following the leadership style of General Farouk Yahaya, repentant terrorists have been surrendering in droves like never before. In a separate development, the Inspector General of Police IGP Olukayode Ogbetokun has appointed Commissioner of Police Tunji Disu as his Principal Staff Officer Wetokun announced Disu's appointment while unveiling the new policing strategies for the Nigeria Police Force. The IGP publicized the new strategy aimed at achieving operational successes and reigniting public trust during the inaugural conference with strategic police managers comprising members of the force management team, Assistant Inspectors General of Police, Commissioners of Police and other heads of police formations in the country at the force headquarters in Abuja today. A statement by the force spokesman Olumuyiwa Dejobi said the IGP also appointed CSP Ganiyu Adebowale as personal assistant PA IGP, SP Adewale Ajibowa as Chief Protocol Officer CPO IGP, DSP Sheriff Lawal as aide-de-camp ADC IGP, and DSP Olawale Ogunwusi as Chief Security Officer CSO IGP. Away from that now, Governor Babagana Zulum has expressed shock and sadness over the killing of 8 farmers in Mafa local government area of Borno State by the Islamic State of the West African province ISWAP. Reports say the killing occurred in Shuarin, Tomsu, Ngamdu, Baram, Barawa and Muna on Thursday at about 1 p.m. while the farmers were working on their farms. Zulum, who visited Mafa, described the attack as unfortunate. He said the state government would partner with security agencies to deploy more soldiers to secure farmlands. Elsewhere, Governor Abu Kafas of Taraba State has urged monarchs to collaborate with his administration to arrest insecurity in the state. The state has been battling issues of banditry, kidnapping, communal clashes and farmer-herder clashes. According to reports, Kafas engaged the traditional rulers in a roundtable today in Jalingo, the state capital. He said the meeting became necessary due to happenings in the state. More to his demands, he admonished the monarchs to tread extra legitimate miles to curb illegal mining activities in their various domains. Like many parts of the country, he expressed sadness that the state has been grappling with the scourge of insecurity. Back here, a medical microbiologist in the University of Uyo Teaching Hospital, UUTH, Dr. Agante Mekuma, has called on residents of Uyo and Nigerians to always check their hepatitis status and get vaccinated at least 3 times in 10 years. The medical practitioner, who described hepatitis as an inflammation of the liver, noted that hepatitis B and C lead to chronic disease in hundreds of millions of people and together are the most common cause of liver failure, liver cancer and viral hepatitis-related deaths. Ekuma, while disclosing that hepatitis B vaccination is for all age grades, said there is no vaccine for hepatitis C. He added that hepatitis is transmitted through body fluids, and to prevent hepatitis C is by avoiding behaviors that can spread the disease.
Yes, hepatitis is an infection of the liver, and most of the common causes are caused by viruses. So basically, hepatitis is infection of the liver and the symptoms that are associated with it. So we have hepatitis A, hepatitis B, hepatitis C, D, and E. I think those are the common ones that cause hepatitis virus. So hepatitis D can occur together with hepatitis B, but it's not so common around here. Hepatitis E too, it's not very common, but it's a milder form, just like hepatitis A. So those ones are associated with food. But for hepatitis B, there is also an effective vaccine that is available, and it's now often a part of our immunization schedule. So I think that is bringing down the prevalence of hepatitis B nowadays, especially among the younger ones. We are seeing a lower prevalence in this in that population. So for those who were not vaccinated for one reason or the other, they need to get vaccinated, and that even protects you from any.
Still to come in the news.
Have already pledged billions.
Western countries commit billions to rebuilding war-ravaged Ukraine. To stay with us.
Ukraine's president.
Every day, we bring you up-to-date information on topical issues affecting the common Nigerian. From issues on politics,
Hello Nigeria, I remain committed.
security, education, health, lifestyle, and so much more. Join Janice Kobum and Uyai Anyeken every weekday from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. on Rise and Shine Daily, exclusive on Spectrum Television.
Many thanks for staying tuned as we move on now to Africa, where the UN has urged Tunisian authorities to end a crackdown on the media and free speech. It comes a few days after a prominent Tunisian journalist was arrested on charges of insulting President Kais Saied. A judge ordered the detention of Ziad El-Hanini ahead of a trial in which he could be sentenced to 5 years in prison. In a statement, UN High Commissioner for Human Rights Volker Turk described the situation as troubling. It will be recalled that President Saied has previously defended his administration by saying he wants to save the North African nation from chaos. However, critics have accused him of staging a coup after he suspended the National Assembly in 2021, passed a new constitution, and moved to rule by decree. Still in Africa, Kenya's President William Ruto has asked the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund (IMF) to reduce stringent measures on loans granted to African countries to ensure fair access of resources. Ruto, who spoke when he met with French President Emmanuel Macron, IMF Chief Kristalina Georgieva, and World Bank Group President Ajay Banga in Paris, urged world leaders attending the new Global Financial Pact Summit to support his call. According to reports, Ruto's administration received $600 million from the IMF in the autumn and winter of 2022. It also got $993 million from the World Bank in May to help the government fund the budget. Meanwhile, most African countries struggle with foreign debts due to ballooning inflation and increased borrowings. In the meantime, Mali's military-led government has seized the diplomatic passport of influential and outspoken Muslim cleric Mahmoud Dicko, who is a vocal critic of the ruling junta. Community-based station Radio Nostalgia reported that the authorities seized Dicko's passport at an airport in the capital, Bamako, upon his return from neighboring Mauritania. Dicko was issued with the passport by the government of the late President Ibrahim Boubacar Keïta. In May, Dicko and several Islamic groups launched an anti-secularism movement to oppose plans to designate the country as a secular state, as envisioned in a draft constitution. Dicko also played a leading role in the protest movement that led to Keïta's downfall in 2020. In the meantime, Zambia has reached a deal to restructure more than $6 billion of debt owed to other governments. The Zambia President Hakainde Hichilema said that the agreement marked a significant milestone in the journey towards economic recovery, noting that work is needed to continue on a separate deal with private creditors. Reports say Zambia was the first country to default on its debt during the COVID-19 pandemic. In a separate development, the authorities in Libya have detained 50 Chinese nationals following a raid on an illegal cryptocurrency operation. Photos published by the Tripoli prosecutor show large windowless rooms crammed with hardware and computers in the city of Zlatan. According to reports, on Wednesday, 10 other Chinese people were taken into custody for crypto mining in the port city of Misrata. It will be recalled that Libya banned manufacturing of virtual currency in 2021. Still in Africa, election observers in Sierra Leone have voiced concern over incidents of violence and intimidation ahead of Saturday's presidential poll. Observers from the African Union and the West African Regional Bloc, ECOWAS, issued a joint statement urging political parties and their supporters to abide by the rule of law. They also called on the security forces to remain apolitical. It would be recalled that on Wednesday, supporters of the opposition All People's Congress APC clashed with the security forces near the party's headquarters in the capital Freetown. One person was killed, and President Julius Maada Bio is seeking re-election in the vote, which will be the fifth presidential poll since the end of the civil war in 2002. Elsewhere, a group of protesters attempted to storm Ghana's parliament as they demanded the removal of taxes on sanitary pads. Security officers stopped the protesters, who were clad in red and holding placards, and made them to gather at the entrance of parliament. The group said the government should remove the 20% import tax and 12.5% value-added tax on sanitary pads, which have made them too expensive for many people. The high cost of sanitary pads, according to the campaigners, is causing absenteeism among girls in school and hygiene issues for the rural poor. However, the Association of Ghana Industries, AGI, has warned the government not to scrap the import taxes. Still in Africa, South African authorities say they have been notified of the death of at least 31 suspected illegal miners believed to be from Lesotho at a disused mine in Free State, South Africa's Department of Mineral Resources said in a statement that it was informed by the Lesotho government about the deaths in a mine ventilation shaft. The department said it has also been made aware that 3 bodies have been retrieved from the mine by other illegal miners. It says it is doing its utmost best to act on the information and has been working with all relevant stakeholders, including previous owners of the mine, to retrieve the bodies. Reports say the mine in Welcome, Free State, was last operational in the 1990s. Meanwhile, the Ugandan government has announced plans to increase the legal age for consuming alcohol from 18 to 21. The World Health Statistics 2023 report ranks Uganda among the leading countries for high rates of alcohol consumption, according to the per person annually, which is significantly higher than the global average. She said that Parliament will discuss the age limit, among other measures, in the soon-to-be presented alcohol control bill. On the foreign scene, 5 passengers on board the missing Titan submersible have been confirmed dead by the U.S. Coast Guard. Reports say they found parts of the vessel amidst debris near the wreckage of the Titanic, noting that the debris was consistent with the catastrophic implosion of the vessel. According to reports, the CEO of the submersible company, a British billionaire explorer, a French diver, and a father and son were all on board. Meanwhile, Moja said he could not confirm whether their bodies would be recovered because of the incredibly unforgiving environment of the ocean.
The location of the search is approximately 900 miles east of Cape Cod in a water depth of roughly 13,000 feet. It is a remote area and it is a challenge to conduct a search in that remote area. We understand from the operator of the vessel that the vessel was designed with a 96-hour sustainment capability if there was an emergency on board. And so we're using that time, making the best use of every moment of that time.
Still on the foreign scene, a man who shot and killed a custody sergeant at a South London police station is facing life imprisonment after he was found guilty of murder today. Louis de Zoysa, aged 25, was convicted by a jury at Northampton Crown Court in central England of murdering 54-year-old Metropolitan Police Officer Matt Ratana in the early hours of September 25, 2020. Ratana, who was originally from New Zealand and joined the Met in 1991, was hit by 3 bullets fired from an antique handgun at Croydon Custody Centre in South London and later died in hospital. He was the first police officer shot dead in the line of duty in Britain in 8 years. British police are not routinely armed. Meanwhile, former tax officer data analyst Louis de Zoysa claimed diminished responsibility but was convicted of murder after a 3-week trial. The jury decided he pulled the weapon's trigger deliberately while handcuffed and did not suffer an autistic episode. In the meantime, the Israeli army acknowledged today it failed to prevent an attack by Jewish settlers on a Palestinian village in the occupied West Bank, during which 1 villager was killed. According to reports, revenge attacks on Termers Aya and other villages followed the killing of 4 Israelis by Palestinian gunmen on Tuesday, which militant group Hamas said was in response to an Israeli army raid on Jenin refugee camp, which killed 6 Palestinians the previous day. Meanwhile, army spokesman Daniel Hajari said troops had tried to prevent Israelis from attacking Termers Aya, but that they were stretched too thin. In a separate development, Mike Pence demanded today that every U.S. Republican presidential hopeful back a nationwide abortion ban at 15 weeks or earlier, as he sought to outflank Donald Trump on an issue his former boss has been accused of fudging. Touting his pro-life credentials a year after the Supreme Court overturned the federally protected guarantee of abortion access, the ex-vice president threw down the gauntlet to his rivals. Meanwhile, Pence did not mention the former president by name, but his address was a pointed challenge to Trump, who views the religious right as key to his 2016 presidential win and future White House ambitions. The former president thrilled conservatives when he appointed 3 justices to the Supreme Court during a single term in office, who subsequently voted to strike down Roe v. Wade, the decades-old precedent guaranteeing federal abortion protections. Still on the foreign scene, Ukrainian Defense Minister Oleksiy Reznikov said today he expected Kyiv to receive a clear signal and formula for it to become a member of NATO when it holds a summit in Vilnius next month. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has said he recognizes it would be impossible to join the military alliance while Russia's war in Ukraine is still underway. Meanwhile, President Volodymyr Zelensky ordered the creation of a special commission today to carry out an audit of heads of military draft offices in regions across Ukraine. According to reports, after meeting his top military commanders, Zelensky said the commission would be headed by General Alexander Palyuk, who is first deputy defense minister. The decision follows Ukrainian media reports of corruption allegations against the head of a draft office. In a separate development now, the Ukrainian military has reportedly claimed today to have had success in 2 areas of the southern front. A spokesman for the General Staff of Ukraine's Armed Forces, Andrei Kovalev, said in a statement that in the directions of Novodanilka, Robotin and Mala Tomachka, Novofedorivka, the force have achieved partial success and are entrenching themselves in the achieved frontiers. A statement added that the Ukrainians have continued to conduct offensive operations in the direction of the southern occupied city of Melitopol and the port of Berdyansk. Meanwhile, the Deputy Defense Minister Hanna Maliar said in the telegram that in the east, Ukrainian troops have halted Russia's advance toward the cities of Kupiansk and Lyman. Meanwhile, the United Nations has accused Russia of killing 136 children in 2022 during its war of aggression against Ukraine. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres said it was appalled by the killings. The report also stated that 80 children were killed by Ukrainian forces. The Russian army was included on a UN list of organizations that commit serious offenses against children in armed conflicts. According to the UN list, a total of 477 children were killed in Ukraine last year, with 136 attributed to Russian forces and allies and 80 to Ukrainian troops. And now it's time for the latest business and stock market stories. Here is Blyden. Okay.
Thank you, Xavier Roberts. Good evening and welcome to Business News. My name is Blyden Ukem. In the news, foreign donors have pledged $66 billion for Ukraine over a multi-year period to help the country rebuild following Russia's February 2022 invasion. The commitments were made at the 2-day Ukraine Recovery Conference in London and were mostly comprised of a $55 billion commitment from the European Union and new pledges from the United Kingdom and the United States. Nearly 16 months since Russia began its full-scale invasion, homes, hospitals and critical infrastructure lie in ruins, and Kiev faces years, possibly decades, of rebuilding. The World Bank has estimated the cost of reconstruction at more than $400 billion, a figure rising daily alongside the human toll of the war. Nearly 500 companies from 42 countries have pledged to play their part, according to reports. In Lebanon, protesters in Lebanon have rallied in front of the central bank to demand the removal of capital control that prevent them from withdrawing their savings and for the bank's governor to be held accountable for the worsening economic crisis. Angry Lebanese who rallied in the capital Beirut today said that while politicians were able to move large sums of money outside the country, they had been left to pay for the crisis. Lebanon's extraordinary economic breakdown became apparent in October 2019 when the central bank suddenly imposed capital controls, capping withdrawals and preventing most Lebanese from transferring monies overseas. In February, the central bank confirmed a new official exchange rate of £15,000 per US dollar, scrapping the rate of just more than £1,500 at which the currency was pegged for decades before it collapsed. In Nigeria, President Bola Tinubu has signed a new global financial pact in Paris, France, after visiting the European country for a summit that bears a similar name to the agreement. The new Global Financial Pact was drafted to prioritize vulnerable countries for support and investments. This was disclosed at the summit attended by other world leaders as well. The president signed the new Global Financial Pact today. The investment was reached among world leaders due to the impact of climate change, the energy crisis, and the COVID-19 pandemic on economies of the developing countries. It is time for the Nigerian stock market reports. Today is the last trading day of the week, and the benchmark All-Share Index spat 4.63 basis points to close at 59,206.63 points, representing a one-week gain of 0.35%. A total of 627.87 million shares in 6,953 deals, corresponding to a market value of 9.15 billion naira, were traded. Compared with yesterday's trading day, today's data shows 2% improvement in volume, 38% improvement in turnover, but 7% decline in deals. And the current market capitalization of the Nigerian Stock Exchange is 32.2 trillion naira. In aggregate, 125 listed equities participated in trading, ending with 36 gainers and 28 losers. National Salt Company led the gainers with 10% share price appreciation, closing at 18 naira 70 kobo per share. On the losing side, Unity Bank came at last with an end-of-day price appreciation of 9.84% at 1 naira 10 kobo per share. Living Trust Mortgage Bank recorded the highest volume of 118 million traded shares. This is all on business news. Do stay with Xavier Robert for the rest of the news.
Many thanks, Blyden. Still to come in the news. Ostapenko clinches comeback win in Birmingham. To stay with us. Many thanks for staying tuned. We now take you to the world of sports, where Isaac is standing by with fresh stories.
Well, thank you very much, Xavier. In sports, number 1 seed Barbara Krejcikova and number 2 seed Jelena Ostapenko traveled very different paths into the Red Sea Classic semifinals today. Krejcikova is to a 6-3, 6-2 win over her fellow Czech Linda Frevitova. 2021 Roland Garros champion Krejcikova took 1 hour and 12 minutes to defeat her 18-year-old compatriot. Meanwhile, 2017 Roland Garros champion Ostapenko of Latvia needed to pull off a stirring comeback before overcoming Polish qualifier Magdalena Frech 4-6, 7-5, 6-2. Ostapenko was down 6-4, fall off before battling back to prevail in 2 hours and 19 minutes. Former world number 2 Krejcikova is seeking her second title of the year, following her upset of world number 1 Iga Swiatek to win the WTA 1000 Dubai in February. This week marks Krejcikova's first trip to a WTA quarterfinals and semifinal since Dubai. Well, in boxing, former heavyweight champion Anthony Joshua is on the hunt for a new opponent for August 12th, as he's keen to get into the ring before a proposed December bout against Deontay Wilder in Saudi Arabia. According to Eddie Hearn, who promotes both heavyweight, the fight with Dillian Whyte is no longer possible, as Whyte rejected the proposal sent to him. German boxer Ajit Caballero has already been linked to Joshua, and Hearn says he may be on the long list, anyone in the top 15. Well, finally, let's talk about football. Management of Rangers International of Enugu has given its players and the technical team a 3-week break as the season came to an end with the Federations Cup final in Asaba. This is contained in a statement from the club media office, from the club's media officer Nobe Tukoli in Enugu on Friday, which said club's administrative secretary Ferdinand Ogwarwa disclosed this on Thursday. He said Ogwarwa made the announcement while addressing the players, coaches and other backroom staff at the players' camp, Independence Layout, Enugu on Thursday. According to the secretary, the camp of players will be closed on Friday for renovation works to be reopened on the 14th of July 2023. Well, that's it on sports. Now to Simon Oko for entertainment news.
In the world of entertainment, Audiomack announced award-winning Nigerian singer Burna Boy as the first African artist to hit 1 billion streams on its platform. This milestone reflects the immense popularity of Burna Boy as an internationally acclaimed musician and demonstrates the power and reach of Audiomack's platform to connect artists with a global audience. Now, Burna Boy expressed his gratitude to his fans and Audiomack, commenting on his achievement, saying he is incredibly grateful and humbled, and much love too to everyone who has streamed his music and has continued to support him. Away from Burna Boy right now, Simi has come up to say that it took her 2 years to rediscover herself after giving birth. Now, the Nigerian songstress Simisola Kosoko, popularly known as Simi, has spoken out about balancing her career and motherhood. Now, the singer revealed that it took her 2 years to regain her groove after giving birth to her only child, Adejare. Simi stated that now that she is in her 3rd year of parenthood, she can finally combine her career and motherhood. She explained that when her baby turned 2, she rediscovered herself and gradually began to find herself. Away from Simi right now, Kessie has revealed the reason behind his decision to wear a mask. The man who shut down Africa in 2013 with his hit single Limpopo and who's making an incredible comeback to the top of the mainstream a decade later revealed the reason behind his now famous face mask. According to Kessie, he's rebranding into another dimension that will give listeners like Kessie 2.0. And for this rebrand, he's getting inspiration from the Nigerian famous saxophonist and singer Lagbaja, who's renowned for his mask. Kessie recently released a new song, Oja Piano, which is a fusion of the famous Oja flute from the eastern part of Nigeria and the era-dominating Amapiano sound from South Africa. Moving on, guys, Goya Meno has come up to say that he deserves more credit than he's getting right now. The Nigerian hip-hop artist and hype man Goya Meno has said he's getting fewer accolades than he deserved. The rapper said his song, Ameno Amapiano Remix, topped many charts globally, a feat he said only few Nigerian songs have managed to achieve. The Edo-born artist is a rapper, he's a songwriter, and also a hype man. Now, the rising star had his shot at fame in 2001 when his song Ameno Amapiano Remix became a sensational hit. The song, which is currently the choice song in clubs and parties across Africa, has also made it to the shores of North America and Europe, where thousands of Westerners are jamming to it. Now, he said the Ameno Amapiano Remix hit #1 on Shazam, #1 in America, and #1 on all platforms. And so, he doesn't think that he's getting enough credit for that. Now, Goya Meno has disclosed also that he would love to collaborate with Tiwa Savage. As a matter of fact, he said he has already reached out to her team, and we are hoping to see a collaboration soon. Now, to the international scene, Canadian singer Taylor Swift skips Canada on Eras tour. Now, the Swifties over in Canada are very angry with the pop star after she skipped the entire country on her current international tour. Now, included in the long list of snappy Swifties is one Canadian politician, conservative Alberta MP Matt Jenna-Rox. Now, after Swift and her team appear to have neglected to include Canada on her tour, Mr. Jenna-Rox has since filed an official grievance with Parliament, which has now gone viral. In his motion filed on June 21st out of Ottawa, Ontario, Jenna-Rox called upon Parliament to encourage the American singer to announce more dates for her international tour that would actually include multiple dates and cities in Canada this time. In his official legal letter, Jenna-Rox wrote that it has come to his attention that despite much anticipation, Taylor Swift's Eras tour has neglected to include any Canadian dates or locations as she released her international dates, which includes stops throughout Asia and Europe. Jenna-Rox mentioned how Swift has finally announced dates in Australia after they've been waiting. Now, he said, similar to what's been considered in Australia, he would like to file an official grievance within Parliament on behalf of all Swifties in Canada for her and her team to reconsider. The government official explained that not only is this leaving Canadian fans without the opportunity to see her tour, but it is also leaving Canada out of the economic opportunities her shows generate. Now, it is estimated that these shows could generate $4.6 billion for local economies. Now, fans just don't simply attend concerts, according to him. Now, he said they spend more money at local businesses, including hotels, restaurants, and shops too. General's letter posted to Instagram and subsequent tweets that followed went viral and left a lot of people laughing, and some of them are in shock. Now, that's it on the entertainment scene. Now, my name is Simon Oko. Back to you, Xavier Roberts.
And that's all we have for you at this time. Do ensure to follow us on social media and subscribe to our YouTube channel, all of which you can find on our website, spectrumtv.ng. You have been watching Spectrum News at 9. My name is Xavier Robert, wishing you a terrific night rest and happy weekend.